any second now. Oh, hey, it says that we are live. So hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. What's so funny, Evie?
That you've been live for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It hung up on my machine. Actually, I have
okay.
30 seconds. It froze for me for a little while, so I was waiting for it to tell me it was live. I'm like,
you're doing awesome.
that's amazing.
Great television.
Great television.
Way to go.
Well, hey, what do you do? What do you do? We're doing we're instead of having a carnival with clowns, with masquerade balls, with dancers, with party games.
You get us.
You get me. You get us. So welcome, internet. Welcome to the chaos that we've got going on here. So, no, seriously, today is the kind of a big day. It's the 20th of May. Oh my goodness, I am bombing. This is terrible. So 20th of May.
You're doing a good job.
Is oh my goodness. So this is the weekend. This is the weekend that every year there is 1 week out of May that is dedicated here in Nebraska as Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And that's part of Mental Health Awareness Month, which of course is May, which is why we're both wearing these fancy shirts with the little green logos on them. And these are we didn't plan that. It's just sort of how it worked out. I don't know if you noticed this today, but like there's a significant portion of the Cirrus House population that all wore different Cirrus House shirts today.
Yep.
There wasn't a memo or anything. It just happened that way.
No.
Or at least I don't think there was a memo. I'm not always great about checking my email every day. So, dude, I've checked it like a million times today, though.
We're all excited because
everyone's excited for
Riders.
Yeah, because in about an hour and a half, the Eagle Riders should be safely within Scotts Bluff and should be headed toward the Cirrus House. And I believe Holly is going to text me when they're headed this way, so I can, or somebody can jump on another line and get them on camera.
Awesome.
And do the thing that way. So I got my high-tech video equipment ready for
that is high-tech.
Broadcasting their arrival. Isn't it, though? It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I'm impressed.
Oh, hey. Yeah. I just got another message from Holly. Hang on. It was a half hour ago. I missed it somehow. It's 1 second, everyone. Sorry. This is great. I'm about to send a message to Holly, who is coordinating the ride. Why don't we spend some time? Evie, tell us about your experience working in the mental health field. Why does mental health mean something to you?
Oh, because I work with the children. I work with the youth. And that is very important for me with the children's mental health. I've been, it's Brent.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Brent.
We're talking about because my head looks way bigger than your guys's.
Oh, so
there it's now it's proportionate.
There you go.
I don't want people to think I have a big head.
There you go. We would never think that.
Well, sometimes when I get compliments,
I wouldn't say it to your face. I wouldn't. But we're talking about children's mental health and why it's important to us.
Awesome.
So,
are you asking me a question, or are you? I thought you were talking.
She was, but I guess she's passing the
baton. You jumped up. I saw your big head, and
there's my big
head. So why is it important to you, Brent?
So
if you want to hear from me as executive director of Cirrus House, or from my inner child.
Your inner child.
Clarifying, because it is children's mental health.
Yes.
I don't know, Brent. Your inner child was kind of angry. I'm not sure we're ready to deal with that kind of level of emotion right now.
You're not wrong, Reese. So my inner child had some childhood trauma. I'll just put it that way. But as the official executive director, children's mental health is super important because guess what? We were all children at one point in time, and we all grow up to be adults, hopefully. Most of us that are adults were at least a child at one time, whether we want to admit it or not. And, you know, as we have learned from research like the ACEs study, which is the Adverse Childhood
Experience.
ACE, Adverse Childhood Effects Study?
Experiences.
Experiences. You know, childhood trauma plays a huge role in people's lives. I mean, it affects, if you've experienced some sort of childhood trauma, it will likely affect you your entire life. Now,
Right.
when you're talking about mental health and mental health agencies and getting help for, you know, things that may have happened when you were a child, difficulties you've had as a child, you know, various traumas that we might experience, the sooner you can get help for those, the sooner you can get connected with a positive social group of people that can help you with
Right.
you know, dealing with those things, the more likely you are to have a long-term, successful, happy life.
Right.
And that's just the bare bones, most important reason why children's mental health is so interconnected to adult mental health. If we don't deal with it when we're younger, we're going to have to deal with it when we're adults. You know, a lot of those things just creep up on us. We think we've stuffed those emotions, those traumas that we've had as kids. And if you don't deal with them in a healthy way, they're likely to come out dealing with them in unhealthy ways. And that could include
Right.
drug and alcohol use. It could involve anger issues. It
Right.
could involve things like, you know, displaced anger, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So super huge topic. And that's my other phone ringing. I'm busy. It's a super huge topic that we need to take very seriously.
Right.
I think it's one of those things too that like it's I mean, there's a lot of science behind it, right? But it also just stands to reason, because we are a working business here, people.
Do not disturb button works real well.
In internet land, we're doing the thing daily. But what I was saying is it just stands to reason. It's common sense that, you know, what affects you as a child affects you as an adult, because when
Right.
you're a kid, the whole point of being a kid is how to learn to be an adult. And so
Right.
all the stuff you learn as a young person are the things that you end up applying to your adult life if you're not paying attention ahead of time, you know, if you don't curb that. I mean, because you can
Right.
pick up bad habits. You're like, that was a bad habit. I'm not going to do
Right.
that. When I have kids, I'm not going to do that. But you gotta be mindful, or sometimes you would.
Yeah, he will.
I know.
You know, I can say, just testifying for myself, having worked for 13 years in youth services prior to coming here and working at Cirrus House in the adult realm. I think working in the youth services field before I had kids and then during having kids made me a better father. Because, you know, we all have our family stuff that we carry over from our own childhood. And, you know, if you're a young person listening to this, you probably have said this statement a few times: I'm never going to be that way when I become a parent, or when I get older, I'm not going to, you know, do X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. And I was the same way when I was a kid. And I would encourage you to remember those things that you say to your younger self. And I've always tried to remember those key things in my childhood, so that I can reflect back on them. And I still, I just turned 50, believe it or not. Wow, it sounds so old, but I still reflect back on, you know, a lot of stuff that happened to me as a preteen and teenager. And I remember, instead of avoiding those things or pretending like they didn't happen, I embrace them and remember them and use them to help me be empathetic with, you know, other people that I'm working with. And if I say the words, I think I understand where you're coming from. I don't ever just throw that out there unless I really mean it. So if you ever hear me say that, it's really coming from a true, sincere place, that if I truly relate to you, I will say that. But if I don't truly relate to you, I'm not going to say those words, because I don't like posers, and I don't want to be a poser.
Don't want to be a poser. That's not cool.
No. Makes your head get bigger.
That's true. Sometimes we have to pull back.
I think there's an important. I think it's an important aspect of life is looking at that authenticity, right? Being the most real you can be in whatever situation you're at. I think some people also mistake that for like a lack of discipline, because you can be a better you. You don't. It's not just whatever you shoot off the cuff, but at the same time, I think people they often present not who they are, but who they think other people want them to be.
Right.
I think that can really hold people back from that too. And that's one thing that I know with the work I've done. I've been here at Cirrus House since 2008. So I'm coming up on, I don't know, I can't do the math right now. 14 years?
13.
13 years? It'll be August. But with that, I've been here a long time, and I see that I really, with the work I do with kids, I really want to try to encourage them to find who they want to be, not who they think other people want them to be.
Right.
And find what their direction is, not what they because you get kids that they'll skate around actually making progress because they're just so busy trying to cover, they're trying to live up to expectations, or they're trying to keep the man off their back by telling them what they want to hear. Right. It keeps them from really pursuing or sometimes even finding what they really want.
Well, and like how we were talking about the ACEs study, when you're looking at trauma, a lot of these children lose their voice. And so as they're entering into the world, they haven't developed that voice yet. And so like we were talking about, building those supports and adding those interventions at a younger age, that helps them build that resilience.
Absolutely.
So gives them that power.
And, I'll just throw out something too, both this to Evie and Reese, as far as their working with young people. They are great advocates. And, I hope I don't step on any toes, but I'm just going to speak some truth to power here. We live in a society where we have a lot of institutions that, for lack of a better words, kind of patronize youth, talk down to them, talk about youth while they're sitting there in the room making decisions about their life and not making that sincere effort to hear what the young person is thinking and feeling and getting their input. I personally, when I was working in youth services years ago, sat in on many IEP meetings as an advocate for young people who were either in the youth shelter or different youth services that I worked in. And I witnessed that so often. And it's those are the times where I remembered being that youth and being in the room, being talked about as if I'm not even really there. And some of those, my adult mind is able to process that and guide the group through it and, point out that elephant in the room. And usually most of the adults are like, oh, yes, golly, gee, I guess we do need to hear from the youth and their perspective. Right. But I just want to shout out to both Matt and Abby, because they're true experts in making sure that happens. I've seen it happen even in group settings, one-on-one settings. I mean, they go out of their way to make sure that young people whose lives are being affected by decisions or by programs or by institutions that they're affected by or in contact with, make sure that the young people's voices get heard. And that's so important. And I would encourage anybody listening to this to step up and be that kind of an advocate for young people. And young people, be an advocate for yourself and learn how to speak up for yourself and not just, yell and scream, say, hey, you make me mad when you don't listen to me. Learn some tools for saying, excuse me, I'm actually sitting right here. If you want to know my opinion, I'd be happy to share it. Sometimes using a little bit of humor sometimes breaks that ice and gets, some of those awkward situations taken care of. But I would really encourage that as a skill set everybody needs to work on, whether you're an adult or a youth.
And I think that's one of the things too that once again comes down to the idea, the theory behind youth services. I've never understood the I guess you call it maybe the medical model, where people tell you what's wrong with you, right? Like you go to the doctor's like, you have the flu. Okay. You go to the school counselor and you don't pay attention in class. Well, that's not helpful when it comes to a day-to-day thing. What the person wants to know is, well, how does that, how do I change that, or how does that positively or negatively impact my decision making? And the thing about it that really has never made sense to me is that when you're stuck in that place, when authority figures constantly tell a young person how they're going to live their life and what's going to happen to them, and don't give them a say or a choice or the power in that. What happens when that kid's 18, 19 years old, right? When they're 20, when they don't have any support or any then they're looking for direction because they've never learned how to step out, and all of a sudden, they've got no recourse. So it hurts the future by not letting kids, take the chance of screwing today up.
Right. When they have those safety nets around them, and help them learn with us around them, and then prepare them for when they're on their own.
Yeah, and just taking on what Matt's saying, we here at Cirrus House, we talk a lot about medical model versus strengths-focused or asset-focused model. And, everything has its place. I mean, the medical model absolutely has its place. If you break your arm, you don't want to go to a doctor with a broken arm and have the doctor say, well, gee, how does that make you feel? It's like, it hurts. I want you to fix it. So a medical model is, okay, let's x-ray that. Oh, I've diagnosed, yes, you actually have a fracture. Here's the treatment. We're going to put that in a cast, or wait till the swelling goes down before put it in a cast. But when you're dealing with emotions and mental health and feelings and that sort of thing, there's no absolute one size. You can't cast an emotion. And unfortunately, a lot of systems who follow the medical model, they want to slap a diagnosis on you and put you on some meds and send you on your way. They're really not dealing with the root issue. The root issue might be that you've got some serious, concerns about, a common one is, parents getting divorced, and, a young person gets depressed or angry or upset and is not paying attention in school because they've got other things on their mind, legitimately so. And then some medical model person comes in and says, oh, you have ADHD because you can't pay attention, so let's put you on some drugs. It's like, a lot of times that's easier to do and to talk about than say, I'm really pissed off that my parents are getting divorced, or I feel really sad because I feel like maybe this is my fault, and I don't want to, I don't even want to talk about that because that's the feelings I'm having, and it makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Medical model has its place, but building relationships and looking for strengths and avenues for people to express themselves and experiment with their own natural strengths and talents, and also taking into what you guys were talking about, those resiliency factors, being able to build resiliency in your life and practice problem solving skills and practice having a voice and practice healthy ways of dealing with stress instead of, isolating or stuffing your feelings or drinking alcohol or taking drugs or having sex or any other number of negative ways that you can avoid dealing with stuff. We need to build strengths in people's lives so they can have avenues for that. In my own life, I'll just speak for me. I didn't have youth services. I didn't have counseling. I lucked out when I was 15 years old, very angry young man for multiple reasons. I joined a martial arts class, and my martial arts instructor ended up being probably one of the most influential mentors in my life. And, through going through martial arts, not only the physical training, but the mental training and talking about concepts like honor and respect and justice, which all came with that martial arts training. You know, it really built me solidly into the person I am today. I mean, it was a type of therapy, and you can find
Right.
those therapeutic avenues in all kinds of things. It's looking for what are you excited about, what are you good at, and building on those strengths. And for me, finding martial arts was my niche, something I was really good at and I really enjoyed. And by focusing on that and pouring all that energy into that activity, you know, that was better than any sort of psychiatry or therapy I could have ever gone to at 15,
Right.
16, 17 years old.
Well, it is therapeutic because I one time was asked this, you know, because growing up, I did have people around me who were substance users, and I was asked what I felt the difference was in my life and in theirs. And my family had enrolled me in dance classes when I was 3 years old. So it's something I had, and I went from individual classes to actually teaching. So that structure is what guided me. That's what my focus was. And
Right.
dance is a form of art, and it helps you get your emotions out. So dance itself is therapeutic. Ballet, you know, tap, jazz, that's all therapeutic. You get your emotion, you get that energy right out, and so you don't
Right.
carry that with you. But I really think that, and other forms of art, my sister does, you know, oils, and that's what, whenever she's going through something, it's like, okay, you know, what do you need to do? And she goes right to her artwork, and that helps her through that.
You mind if I share a quick funny story? You just made me think. I listened to a podcast on the way to work today, and the guest on this podcast was Ted Nugent. And if you don't know who Ted Nugent is, he's an old rock and roll guy, awesome guitar player. I mean, he's played with all the greats of rock and roll. And he's a pretty, I mean, he's a real outspoken, people call him crazy, and, you know, but I mean, crazy in a good way, just fun, a lot of energy, and one of the things he said today, which the host was asking him about his background, and he's known within I mean, he's a rock star, a true rock star, and he's known within the rock star world as being that guy, that rock star who doesn't use drugs, you know, who didn't, you know, have women that he slept with after shows and stuff. He's known as this, you know, this really nice, straight-laced guy. And when he was talking on the podcast, they were asking him about that. And he talked about, you know, how his music was, you know, that was his, you know, he almost has a spiritual connection to his music. And that was so important to him. You know, that was how he expressed himself. And for him to take drugs or to numb that would just mess up his music. He's like, man, I didn't want to mess up my music. And at one point in time, he was talking about, you know, I've got this 1,200 acre ranch down in Texas, and I've got deer, and I've got water, and I've got all that. He was telling all that. He says, you know how I got all that? And the guy's like, no, tell us, how did you get all that? He goes, I didn't buy cocaine. Even when all my rocker friends were, you know, buying cocaine and blowing through $10,000 in cash a night, he goes, I was saving my money. Now I've got a 1,200 acre ranch. You know, it was just hilarious how he said it. It's like, I have a ranch because I didn't do cocaine. You know, he took his positive skill, his guitar playing, true rock star, and he used it as a positive in his life. He actually saved money, put it in a bank account. Wow, novel idea, right? Especially for a rock star.
Yeah.
So, with that story, speaking of rock stars, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Gabe the Brute, come and play some music. I'm also, Gabe, thanks for coming along.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay.
We're going to have to get your autograph later. You know, Gabe, you are a true rock star.
I don't know about that. This is weird. I can hear you guys, but I can't hear myself through my headphones. I am not very good with this live streaming stuff. So, but that's all right. I don't really necessarily need to hear myself through the headphones, so that's all right.
Okay. Well, before you start playing, we do have some prizes that we want to give away. And so I'm going to put up a question, and the first person in the chat to properly answer the question will win a prize. And
I can't play, right?
Oh,
It's
I
this
already know the
placard.
answers.
you want to play? See, look at that.
Sweet! I want that though.
Placard, and it says everything's impossible until somebody does it. Batman. And
That is
and
awesome.
so with this we have an appropriate question along with it. And the reason I picked this up is like I was getting some art supplies. We'll talk about that in a little while. But why I'm getting art supplies. I was at the Hobby Lobby and I saw this, and it's such a positive message about doing things. And we believe in Cirrus House, and one of the things we work with our youth is that the only thing holding you back, the biggest thing holding you back, is the ability to just do it, to go out there and try. And you never.
Oh, we just lost Reese.
This
Oh, he's back.
What?
We lost you.
Oh yeah, for a second. It was
He has a hard time getting reception in the back cave.
everybody in the internet is on the internet. So here's a riddle, and the first person to answer this riddle in the chat will win this, and we'll get a hold of you, or you can get a hold of us afterwards. They're on Facebook or on email, and we'll get this to you. So there you go. I'm watching the chat. First person to answer the riddle properly gets their own little Batman placard. Okay.
What's the riddle?
You guys can't see it there? It says, how does Batman like his coffee?
I see it now.
I see it.
I was totally not looking down on the screen. I see it now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's across the bottom of the screen. If I was really handy, I was going to have it scroll, but I forgot to tick the little button that would let it do that. So it's not quite as cool as it could be.
I just want to share what's on the back of my phone. I've been a fan of Batman since I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
I have a picture of myself as a 2-year-old in a Batman costume, and it was July. It was a Halloween costume, but I wore it like year-round.
I could tell stories about kids in costumes, but I'm not going to, because Gabe came to play.
Hey, woohoo!
Can you hear my guitar as well?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Well, you want me to just play some songs? I was going to play some songs I wrote.
Go for it, man.
So.
So Gabe, this is I didn't want to interrupt or nothing, but like your levels were really weird.
Are they?
Yeah. Like I can hear the guitar pretty good, but the vocals were really low. But they're not low when you're just talking. So I don't know what's up with that.
Could just be that I'm not singing as directly into the microphone as I am when I'm talking.
Maybe that's what it is. But
I will. I can turn the guitar down on here. So, all right. Well,
Yeah, do that one more time. Start over from the beginning.
okay.
that was really good, but start all over.
I'll try another one, and I'll just try to be more conscious of my mic, whatever the word is that I'm trying to think of.
Remember, you guys on the internet watching, we've never done this kind of thing before.
Yeah, and I cannot hear myself at all. The only way I'm hearing myself is just in person. So
right.
So I'm not really sure how it sounds to you guys, but here's another song I wrote called "Scorch the Earth." I put the fire to our fields. I'm giving up tonight to a deconstructive glow. Never tell the scorched earth heals. Making way for something beautiful to grow. When the fighting winds and the spiny things took hold, we stood our ground, swearing to be bold. Every move, another wound, another digging form in my side. I will scorch the earth tonight. We've been surrounded by the enemy, the worried world and every comfort that we know. And maybe we'll warm our hands as everything is smoldering. We have nowhere left to go. When the fighting winds and the spiny things took hold, we stood our ground, swearing to be bold. Every move, another wound, another digging form in my side. I will scorch the earth tonight. Make sure there's nothing left to lose. Make sure there's nothing left to lose. Make sure there's nothing left to lose. We'll have everything to gain when the fighting weeds and the spiny things took hold. We stood our ground, swearing to be bold. Every move, another wound, another digging form in my side. I will scorch the earth tonight. I will scorch the earth tonight. Make sure there's nothing left to lose. Make sure there's nothing left to lose. Oh, make sure there's nothing left to lose. There's nothing left to lose. Was that any better? I don't know if that was.
It was. I mean, like I think it may be something with the software because it seems to be like trying to level it out. But it's I don't know. So maybe it's StreamYard's fault. We'll blame them, I guess. But I like that song. That's got some kick to it. I like it.
Yeah, that was great. I'm impressed. You wrote that, huh?
Yeah. I write quite a few songs. I just don't play them as often as I probably should. Been working on recording here and there. Hopefully I'll be able to have some solo stuff recorded here before too long. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and I don't know if
when you get your first album out, let me know and I'll buy it.
okay. I'm running this through a soundboard too, and then through my iPhone. So I don't know. This has worked for other live Facebook things, but I've only ever tried it on Facebook, so I don't know.
Yeah, the StreamYard platform we're using allows us to stream to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons we went with it, and it's kind of push button easy as far as talking goes, but I don't have any like special settings. Like I know like I've got a buddy who uses like the Streamlabs platform, and their premium membership comes with all sorts of like levels you can tweak and like virtual soundboards that integrate with real ones, and it's a whole thing. But I wanted something simple.
Yeah. And maybe that's my bad. I'm trying to overcomplicate what should be simple, and I've got all these wires plugged in all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little beyond me. But man, do you have any other numbers?
The number 7.
It's a good one.
It seems like a solid number.
It does. It's very
First one I came up with. I mean, yeah, I could play songs for quite a while. But I could try one more. I'm sort of feeling self-conscious since you said the sound is not great, but I wonder if I could probably turn my mic up and unplug the guitar and just go through one mic and see how that works.
Yeah.
Maybe give it a shot.
That might be a good
Give
thing.
me just a second.
The way it sounded to me was like it was the two microphones trying to compete with each other, like on a Zoom conference where it tries to not let people cut each other off.
Gotcha.
That
All right, let me
good insight.
give me just a second to make a couple adjustments here.
We have some more prizes that we can win later, Matt.
We do. We have some prizes I've got.
I want to see what your goodie bag is, man. I haven't seen it yet.
We've got dinner and a movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's the dinner at? I couldn't read that.
Dairy Queen.
Aha.
We've got just a movie. And then we have also a gift card for just dinner.
Is it like dinner for two, or is it like?
It's like dinner for a family of 3.
Hey, now that's nice.
So.
Or 3 friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a couple and the annoying friend that shows up on the date that won't go away. That happens sometimes.
That happens. That does happen sometimes.
Sometimes when I was younger, I was that annoying friend. Like,
oh,
hey,
yeah.
What you guys doing? Can I come?
Yeah.
Sure, Brent. Okay, cool.
That's exactly what I wanted, Brent. Yeah. Let's go watch Carlito's Way with Brent.
Have you gotten the right answer on the Batman question yet?
Not yet. Not yet. Well, and like we 3 already know the answer, so we can't compete. It wouldn't be fair anyway since we're hosting the thing. But
yeah,
I suppose, Gabe, if no one else answers the question, you don't know the answer. So maybe I want to give it away. I want to move on to another prize, but nobody.
Yeah. If Gabe if he's going to win, I think he should have to write a song about it.
About how Batman likes his coffee?
Yes, that would be awesome.
That sounds like it's got to be a metal song. I don't know.
Yeah, probably would.
Maybe. I'll tell you what, though, if you come up with maybe
like this. You got to sing like this.
You got to sing.
the Christian Bale sort of Batman thing.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to do the nipple Batman though.
The George Clooney or the Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I think it was the Val Kilmer was the nipple Batman. I'm pretty sure.
I think George Clooney, actually.
Was it George Clooney? I can't remember.
I could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
I'm not going to look it up right now, though.
Well, how does it sound when I'm playing the guitar?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it's sounding better.
Okay. So I'm just doing everything through the mic, so hopefully it picks up. It's kind of a directional mic, but we might be able to make this work. Okay, so I'll play one more. This is one of my favorite songs that I've written. It's called "In the Dark," and yeah. We met in the dark when everything was at its worst, and I was not well versed at saying what I needed to say. It tore me apart, it put me back together again. And you cannot pretend to know what you've done for me. You reap what you sow, and you sow it so well. But every wild oat has its own story to tell. And I wonder what they say if they all knew you like I do, even though I don't know you. So put on a show, play it up for all the world to see how happy we can be, and wonder if the feelings are true. The debt I owe is something I can never repay. All the odds have a way of coming down to you and me. You reap what you sow, and you sow it so well. But every wild oat has its own story to tell. And I wonder what they say if they all knew you like I do, even though I don't know you, even though I don't. Dare I oppose the line that's drawn and that expose the vagabond that I have come to be? Now could you know the strength it takes to live without making mistakes when they depend on me? You reap what you sow, and you sow it so well. But every wild oat has its own story to tell. And what would they say if they all knew you like I do, even though I don't know you, even though I don't know you, even though I don't know you. Hopefully that was a little bit better sound quality.
That was much better.
Good.
Yeah. If you go back and check the replay, because it'll be out there on the YouTube, the directional mic definitely makes a difference with the way that picked up there.
Yeah,
but at the same time, because you were going crazy. You were rocking it out, man. You were really into it. But that was a great song.
Hey, Gabe, I'm just curious. Where do you get your inspiration for your music? Is it everyday life, or are you just a rhymey kind of guy, or what's your methodology?
Kind of all over the place. Like that song I specifically wrote after I'd read the Hunger Games books. So it's kind of thinking along the lines of the main character Katniss and her trying to navigate this really weird world that she's living in, and kind of relating it back to myself and feeling, obviously things are not quite as bad as that, but feeling like I could relate to some
COVID-19.
trials.
I was beginning to wonder if that's the direction it was headed.
Yeah.
Stay home and we will put you into different precincts. Stay home and obey.
Well, here we are on all different quadrants of the video chat there. So
Yeah.
that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are some other tools or inspirations you get for different songs or different types of music?
I mean, I guess just kind of thinking about struggles and about there's a lot of different things. Sometimes I just want to try to tell a story. Like the first song I played, which you couldn't hear very well, it's called "Caught the Wind," and I just kind of had this idea of catching the wind, and sometimes I'll hear like an idiom or a phrase, and I'll just kind of ponder on it for a little while, and then try to write something around it. And that's kind of what I did there. I ended up writing a story about somebody being kind of lost and just wanting to make it back home, and
That's
sort
cool.
of thing. So
I'm not talented enough to write music, but I do love to write, and I journal a lot, and I love analogies, and sounds like a lot of music is allegorical or has analogies woven into it. So I have a deep appreciation for people who can write music, because I've tried to write songs before. Just in poetry, I can't do poetry either. I'm more of a narrative kind of guy.
Yeah. Poetry is a fun, unique skill because to do it, it's as much about what you don't say as about what you do say. You got to break it down. You make it fit the cadence if you're doing a rhymed or a metered poem. But you also have to give the impression that of more going on than what you say. Otherwise, it throws off the music to it. So.
Mm-hmm.
And in case you didn't know it, Matthew is a poet. I actually have one of his little poetry books he gave me. It's good stuff.
It's okay. But,
I like it.
So, but anyway, yeah. I do poetry. I wouldn't say I'm a poet. In fact, I have a poem about that.
You have a poem about not being a poet?
Yeah.
That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
It's one of my rhymed ones, so I might actually be able to remember it since we're filling time anyway. I am not a poet. It's just something that I do. Let's see. No, I got it wrong. I am not a poet, though written poetry, it's true. That is not my chosen craft, just something that I do. Oh, man, I forgot the next stanza. But anyway, yeah, that's how it starts.
I always forget stanzas when I'm sitting.
Very clever.
I wish I had a drum set here so I could give you
I've always had this desire to be a stand-up comedian. I'm just not that good at it. I'm funny, but I'm not a comedian.
I thought I had it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right, you stood up. You remember the rest of the stanza.
I did stand. That's true. I think I had a copy of home sitting around someplace. But yeah, well, Gabe, thanks for coming along.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're finished? Because I asked for 2 songs, you gave us 3.
I mean that I feel good about that, I guess. What else do you guys have going on this afternoon, evening?
Well, we've got the writers are coming into town, but they're not going to be here until about 5:30. And Evie has to leave at 5, and Brett has to leave at 5, and We were going to have somebody else come in and like tag team, and we're going to talk about, why they're in human services and the whole thing and what kind of programs they work with and how they think about it. But they had a medical emergency for a thing. It wasn't their medical emergency, thank God. It was some critter. It's their story. I don't want to tell it, but yeah, the vet's only open for certain hours. So
yeah, fair enough.
That becomes priority when you're taking care of things. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I had actually, I know we didn't really discuss a time frame, but kind of forgetting about the schedule and how, I know when you normally get off work, but I forgot the whole thing. So I'm like, oh, Gabe won't get here till after 5, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said be prepared between 4 and 6, and so I was like, I guess I'll just leave work a little early and go home. And luckily I had the flexibility to be able to do that. So
which I'm glad for.
That's what Matt gets for giving you such a big window.
Yeah.
That is true.
Gabe's not the cable guy. He's not going to be like, I'll be there sometime between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. It's like, Gabe's a responsible guy. He's like, okay, I'll come early because he's a responsible guy.
The other thing too, and one of the things is I had kind of hoped that we'd have some other people that sound like, yeah, this sounds great. I'd love to talk about X. I'd love to talk about my program. I'd like to advertise how I'm involved in, children and youth mental health. Nobody stepped forward.
Hey, I do have a question for you or Evie. So we do Cirrus House does a art project with a local art center every year. I was just wondering if you had any updates on that. People might be interested in hearing.
I do, actually. In fact, just today I got the call to artists in from them, and our theme this year is masquerade. Right? And that was actually picked by our Youth Advisory Council.
And that I might say, that was picked long before COVID-19 and wearing masks even happened. So I think there's a little bit of really cool synchronicity going on there, how that ended up being a thing.
We did. We had a meeting in November, and that's when the kids were like, let's do masquerade. It's awesome. And so the part of the reason our little logo here is a jam piece. Myself and one of the youth worked together on it to do the design and everything. And my contribution is the design for the plague mask, which was absolutely related to the COVID.
Right.
So that's why there's a plague mask there. And
isn't it cool how creativity becomes relevant even on accident?
Yeah. So, and that was one of the things. And actually, one of the things I'll probably do either before the writers get here or after, because we're going all the way to 6. I'm not sure how long they want to stick around. I have a PowerPoint about masquerades that we've done for an informative for the kids to kind of talk about all of that. And so I was going to pull out the PowerPoint and talk about what a masquerade is and how that relates to stuff. But our art show is going to be running from the beginning of July through the end of August at the Art Center. It's open to the public. Anybody could participate. And all we just, you can grab one of these. We're going to also have a digital version available. If you are one of our youth that are participants in the Cirrus House program, we actually will supply materials. We're going to be doing some instruction as well, probably doing online classes. One has already been done. That was done last month, and I've not been able to schedule another one yet. But this painting behind me is actually done by local artist Selena Godinez. It's the comedy and tragedy masks.
Cool.
I'll bring that up here. And she did this just to talk about some different technique stuff. And it's on our YouTube channel. You can go check it out. Cirrus House Youth is the name of the channel. And you can find us that way. But let me show you the thing. Okay. And she did this in about 10 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Maybe
That's
20.
cool.
We didn't take her long. Yeah, she's got the mad skills when it comes to paint right there. In fact, she's got a couple of pieces that are up at the art center right now. I was in there to grab the called artists here. Ta-da! And she's got a couple of them up in there. They've got what they call the pop-up exhibit because the exhibition they had they ended up having to cancel, and so they're just like, we got to have something on the walls. Who wants to bring us one? And so, she brought down at least two that I spotted. I didn't spend a long time at the art gallery today, but yeah, if you're out and about, go. They are open 11 to 3 daily, so take some time to go check it out. They are asking to limit to 10 people per visit at a time, but I'm only one person, so I didn't mind going. So, well, yeah, we'll talk. Like I said, I want to bring out the PowerPoint later on when I don't have any guests, because I don't want to take up the time. Just me yakking when I can talk to you guys about yakking stuff, right? So yeah. I'm excited. I am excited, Gabe, to hear the rest of your album at some point. So when you get that going, you'll have to do a release party or something.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. My friend Dustin and I were actually working on some of it last night, so we're making some progress. He's always researching the latest equipment and the latest programs and methods for recording, and has a pretty good head and ear, I guess, for that sort of producing and helping to record. So hopefully it's the time part of it that seems to be what holds us back. Hopefully we'll be able to find some time and
Right.
get some stuff done.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
And Gabe, when you get through that process sometime in the future, I think it'd be great to have you as like a guest speaker to one of our youth groups. I mean, because being able to, write and produce your own music is a super cool entrepreneurship opportunity, and being able to show young people, it's like, hey, you can do this too. And just talk about the process. I know that there's been things in my life that I've heard about that I would have never thought about doing if I, didn't have somebody I knew or, explain, hey, this is how I did X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you know what, I could probably do that too. I might give it a try. I ended up writing a book. I've got a couple of U.S. patents, and I think it's cool to hear those stories of people that have a passion that they want to follow and hear their step by step. This is how he did it. I think that's really inspiring to young people and adults alike, to encourage them to follow some of their passions and some of their dreams.
Yeah, there was definitely people in my life when I was in high school and stuff that were that for me for sure. Encouraged me when I felt like giving up and said keep trying, try some different things. Yeah, so for sure.
My youngest daughter, a few years ago, when she was 10, she wanted to do an art piece we live in Wyoming, for the Wyoming State Arbor Day art competition. So it's a pretty big deal. And she started her painting. She had this idea of what she wanted to look like, and she got nerves, I think, frustrated, and it just wasn't turning out the way that she wanted to. And she was like, I'm just not going to finish it. I can't do it. I'm not going to enter this contest. And we, the family, and her older sister's like, just take some deep breaths. You're doing well. You messed up on this part. You can paint over that. She just encouraged her to get through that drama a little bit. And, the next day she kind of came at it with a fresh point of view and ended up making this really cool little picture and submitted it to the state of Wyoming for this contest. She ended up winning the state contest.
Wow.
And, at 10 years old, she got to go give a speech in front of the governor of Wyoming and receive an award. And there was this big thing, and they got to plant an Arbor Day tree with the governor. And so, just having those stories where you can persevere through, struggles and I think that's really encouraging to a lot of people to be able to hear those and have those experiences themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So definitely. And I think one of the things too is I think there's a lot of, I think as human beings, we naturally are drawn to create something, right? And not everybody creates the same kind of things, and not everybody's into arts per se, but I think that there's just a drive we have to make something. And I think that it's easy to get distracted with quick fulfillment, with things that seem like, you video games, you've got the TV, you've got the whatever that are more fun quicker. But I think you get greater enjoyment from the discipline of creation. And the bar to entry is not as high as people sometimes think to that kind of thing.
Right.
It takes a long time to get good at anything, but to get started, it doesn't take much. And I think people underestimate that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do comics in my free time with some friends of mine, and we've been doing that since 2006. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's real great, and I'm not going to link to them, but it's out there to find if you want to look for it. But with that, it's one of those things that it just, to get into an art field like that, it's just a matter of just doing it. You pick it up and you learn and you just keep going at it. There's virtually no barrier to it. So, yeah.
I'll share a quick story. I always struggled in school, high school. I actually was in a job interview once, and I was making a joke. They actually had an interview question that says, "So, what kind of grades did you get in high school?" At first, my stomach sunk because I didn't get real good grades in high school. And just to lighten the moment, I said, "Well, I graduated in the top 95% of my class." I expected them to chuckle, and here's these professional interviewers. They're like, oh, yes, good. And they're writing this down. I'm like, okay, they didn't understand the joke. Do I point it out to them and make it awkward, or no? They just went on to the next question. Because if I graduated in the top 95%, that means I was somewhere above the lowest 5%. So anyway, but when I got to college, I was in community college. I'm an artist too. I like to draw, paint, sculpt, whatever. And I took all these art classes, and I had to take those basic requisites, the English and the math and that sort of thing. So I did this creative writing class because the syllabus, sounded fun. And it was in that class, and I don't remember the college professor's name now, but he was really cool because he's like, this is a creative writing class. We want you to get the story on paper. This is pre-computers, guys. That's how old I am. I actually had to hand write them out on paper. I want to hear your stories, and we'll critique them and fix the spelling and the punctuation and everything later. So he actually pulled me aside after class one time and said, "Hey, you're a really skilled writer, and you've got some real potential here. My spelling was atrocious, and some of my grammar was not the best. But this professor also said, 'Have you ever been tested for dyslexia?' And I was like, 'No, what's that?' And he kind of explained to me what dyslexia was. Lo and behold, I found out, some years later that I do in fact have dyslexia, which really affects my ability to spell things and some of those things. But if I would have never had that creative writing class with that instructor that was really interested in, I mean, he was kind of a strengths-based professor. He was interested in finding what is your strength, and my strength was in the storytelling part. Yeah, my technical skills really sucked, but I had the ability to tell a story, which he pointed out. And that really encouraged me and took me on. I'm not a professional writer now. I was in criminal justice, and now I'm in the human services field. But I did end up publishing my first book in 2012. And, you know, I've won some awards through it. But it was a tough process because of those technical skill things. I had to hire, you know, a copy editor and go through that whole process of copy editing stuff. But you know, the creativity part was good. And I share that story because I've talked to so many young people over the years that have been beaten down either unintentionally or sometimes, unfortunately, intentionally by peers or by parents or by teachers that make kids feel stupid because they can't or don't get good grades in school. And I just want to say, you know, I'm one of those kids that didn't get good grades in school. I just winged my way through. I'm from Kansas City, so my graduating class was 550 people. And in the class ranking, I was 498. So that being in the top 95% was a true statement. You know, and here I am now. I'm an executive director. I manage a $1.3 million budget. Wow, that's amazing. This almost high school dropout is, you know, doing things with his life that probably my teachers would be shocked if they knew what I was doing now. But I share that because I know there probably will be some young people that watch this that I hopefully find encouragement in that. Don't let people hold you back or hold you down. Find out what your talents are and exploit those. Exploit your talents, exploit your strengths, and build on those. And I mean, just like Gabe, I've known Gabe for several years now, and in just the short time I've known Gabe, his ability to sing and perform has increased a lot, and now he's writing his own music, and he's writing some pretty awesome songs, in my opinion. So can't wait to see what Gabe does next. I mean, it's cool to see people grow like that. And, I would just encourage people that are listening, if you've got a passion, follow that passion. And even though you hit bumps in the road, just keep pushing at it, keep learning your skill, learning your passion more and more.
So, Gabe, since you're still with us, how did you get involved in doing music?
Well, I mean, I guess I've been singing and doing that sort of thing as long as I can remember. But, and even as early as in grade school, I, you know, just auditioned for any sort of singing part in like the little kid musicals and stuff and all those sort of things. And then in high school, I had a teacher who really encouraged me and you know, pushed me to grow and to try new things and to you know, just not give up. And then I had another mentor, a youth pastor who you know, again, was very encouraging, and he would get me involved in the band at church and things like that. And yeah, so I guess it was just something that I had this desire to do from a very young age, and kind of made a hobby of it. And one thing that I have to be careful with in myself is kind of not just it is like, it has to do with goals, like just be, you know, I haven't been able to record an album yet or anything like that. I haven't finished anything yet. You know, my bands have recorded a couple things here and there, and I have a band called All We See, and we have a couple songs that you can find on the music places. But I find myself getting discouraged, you know, that 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 I haven't just been able to get that done, and that it hasn't just come together magically, you know, without the effort. And so I think sometimes that's one of the things that we can get caught up in is
Well, I think that's some of that comes
wanting that immediate success and what
Right.
it does success look like. I mean, I have had some, I'd say, pretty significant success just in the area in the last few years, where people keep asking me to come play at different things, a country club or the Flyover Brewery, or lots of private parties and things like that. I mean, I've been very fortunate to have a multitude of opportunities because I've just kept putting myself out there and making myself available and practicing and working on doing what I enjoy doing, I guess. So.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that it's easy for people to I think people have a really hard time with this idea about what does success mean, right? Because obviously, if you sign the big record deal, if your songs are being put on TV shows and movies, you're successful, right? But just making the music is a success of itself, because there's a struggle that goes into to getting your skill to where you want it, to getting your thoughts onto paper, to getting the band to play the tune the way you envision in your mind. Yeah. All of that struggle, when it comes together, that is a success. And I think sometimes we forget about that because it's not making money yet, or it's not
right.
You're not as famous as you want to be, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means there's growth to be done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been working on comics since 2005, 2006, and I'm still a beginner. I'm mostly the writer, so I feel like I've grown a lot as a writer, but that doesn't necessarily mean I get a lot of readers. But the getting projects done is what for me, that's my mark of success, is when I get that turn of phrase right, and when I get that plot point right.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody reads it, well, almost nobody read Moby Dick in his lifetime. And then, not that I'm Herman Melville, for crying out loud, but Moby Dick was a success because of what it brings to literature, and not because it made money, because it didn't.
Right. Well, another thing I'd throw out there is when we're doing what we're passionate about, you'll find that you have a lot of opportunities to mentor other people who have similar interests and be mentored. And, the value of those friendships and relationships that you build, I may never be, I'm an award-winning author, which is true, but I'm not a best-selling author. So there's a big difference between those two things. I may never be a best-selling author, but I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people, encourage other writers, and share, my small success with the things that I've done. And I hope that pays off in, helping somebody else be successful or follow their dream. And that in and of itself is success, whenever you're able to mentor somebody else or encourage someone else because of your experiences. And gentlemen, I'm going to have to take off here. It's a little after 5, and I got some other commitments, but carry on the conversation without me. It was great to see you again, Gabe, and
you too.
Look forward to seeing you live again maybe soon. So you guys have a great day. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off.
Well, thanks for coming, Brent.
All right, take care.
Appreciate that. So, how's it going?
Good. Yep.
So what have you got going on this? I mean, like, this whole thing's crazy. Like, I know normally you do festivals in the summertime, and you've got outdoor gigs you have lined up, and of course you do all sorts of stuff that is less. But like, is there anything you've got on this agenda for the summer with all this stuff going on?
A lot has been canceled. Mostly due to virus concerns, and there's been some other just coincidental things that have happened, and so with different things that have been booked up, and so yeah, there's not right now. There's really not anything. Angela at Cappuccino and Company, she's been having some live music on Saturdays, and we've been live streaming that. And so last couple weeks I've participated in that, and I'll be doing that this Saturday as well. And then Debbie Wagner as well has been doing that. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on right now, and maybe now that some restrictions are being loosened a bit. I don't know if some places are going to be trying to get live music going again or not. I know it's kind of a controversial topic because with the virus concerns, they don't want people gathering, and I understand that, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. It's kind of hit or miss. It's a good time to work on doing recording and things like that. So hopefully I can focus on that this summer and maybe come out of this with that goal finally accomplished.
Yeah. Hopefully. Now, how many tracks are you working at for the album?
Oh man, well the thing about that is we probably started recording some of my solo stuff at least 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, me and my friend Dustin, and we got a little ways into it, and then we moved on to another project and got a little ways into that, and then moved on to another project. And now finally circling back, to the solo stuff, my solo stuff, and realizing, okay, well, this song and this song, which we got maybe halfway done recording, I don't even like those songs anymore, and I don't really have any desire to put those out into the world anymore. So, but I've got these new songs, so we can start working on those. And but there's been a few too that we had a good foundation on, so we're just going to kind of build on that and see where it goes. And like I said, my band Always Seem, we've been working on some recording and stuff too. So, but they're with the gathering restrictions and various health concerns, we haven't really been able to get together. I don't have the equipment in my own home to really do much professional quality recording. So, we've had to kind of just pull on the reins on everything. But like I said, last night we worked on some stuff, and we're gonna plan on trying to keep that going about once a week. Do what we can. So.
Yeah. So, well, like I said, I look forward to it. We've known each other for a while now, so I'm excited to hear what you put together. I think you got yourself man, every time I hear you play, it's just you're a little better, which I wouldn't have really thought of being like a thing, because it's not like I was like, oh man, not like 10 years ago I was like, oh man, that Gabe Bruton, he ain't good. I'm gonna tell him, but he's not good. That was never
I tell myself that way too often.
Yeah, well, it's not true though, man. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, like even back when I first met you were in bands and stuff, and it was one of those things where that was what, 08, 09, something like that.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there. I mean, Delusions of Pluto was 2010.
Yeah, and
that was my first real band. Before that, I was doing solo stuff. So.
Yeah, but I'm saying you had chops, man, and it was one of those things where I was like, so it was. I know, like I've tapped you to play at different events I've been involved in through the years, and just because I knew you had the skills. But I mean, man, even with the bad sound quality today, it was a situation where it was like, dude, I wish I was there, because
yeah,
I know what I'm missing, and it sucks.
Well, I appreciate that. And if anybody wants to kind of check out, like I said, I've been trying to do some live stuff. So this Saturday I'm going to be playing at Cappuccino and Company, and we'll stream it live. my friend Richard Castro from Crossroads Music, he's going to come play with me. We're just going to kind of jam. And so if you look up Gabriel the Brute on Facebook,
Just like the
people
Loch Ness
can-
Monster tells you. See, in the
What's
background. I said, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Loch Ness Monster tells you.
Yeah. I tried to, I tried to get that in there. It wasn't accidental.
Yeah.
So
I did
Yeah.
a support thing with cells painting. So
right.
it's there as reminders that we're doing art.
Yeah.
So I just got a text message a little bit ago that the writers have gotten to Gering and they are awaiting a police escort. They'll be heading this way in a matter of moments. So they're actually going to have a police escort come up from Gering and up to our parking lot. And when I get the word that that happens, I'm going to switch devices and turn this camera off. I have to leave the connection up. Turn this camera off, and then I'm going to walk it on my high-tech device here. And we're going to walk that downstairs. And when we do that, then we'll broadcast from the phone for the writers coming on in. So I'll have to, well, the screen will look a little funny, but that's what we're going to do. So.
Cool, man. Well, I think I'm probably going to
Okay.
head off, or I don't know. Where am I going to go? I'm going to still be here, but I'm going to,
I'm going to be here, but I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
I'm going to no longer tie myself to this microphone and camera.
I see how it is. That's.
So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Guys, if you're in the Scottsbluff area, pay attention to Gabe. His stuff is well worth listening to. I'm not just saying that because we're friends, but it's good stuff. So I appreciate you coming on, taking an hour out of your day to play some music and talk about what art means for health and stuff. So it's been fun. Have a good one, man, and we'll catch you around.
See you around.
Yep. So we do have from the chat, Stan Bills says we're doing a great job. I hope so. I hope so that is true. It's just me now, though. All of my guests have left. So if you give me just a second here, I'm going to go ahead and talk about our art show this summer. Like our theme, as I mentioned, and it was put together by our Youth Advisory Council, is going to be Masquerade. And we are accepting projects all the way up through the 28th of June. And they can be delivered here to Cirrus House. The idea is that, in fact, let me just read you the copy out of the book here that was written with the Advisory Council to kind of get the point across. Where did it go? Hang on. Sorry. I know it was in here because I saw it before. Masquerade is a classic tradition of masked balls where participants hide themselves behind masks. But sometimes those masks can free a person to express who they really are. What lives behind the mask, and what is your mask made of, or is there a mask at all? In this exhibition, we implore artists to ask and answer these kinds of questions. We don't get to choose our faces or our struggles, but sometimes we can pick our fates. How can Masquerade Expressions of Healing invite you to speak on mental health and wellness? So that is the kind of the piece, the idea behind the show and how we want to play that together. So the idea is for masks, and if we have, it's an open exhibition, so that means we'll take 3D art, actual masks. They can be painted or pre-made. It can be a painting, like Cell's piece back here, painting of masks. And the idea is just to think about how the idea of wearing a mask, of hiding yourself, of using the mask as a form of expressing the inner man, how all those things can relate to the mental health and how we look at the world. So, and if you give me just a second, I will load up thy little PowerPoint. So, and we'll talk a little bit about the history of it. And this was put together to be a kind of a go-to introduction for somebody to look at. So give me just a second here. I got my share screen just about ready to go. So I should have had this all together while people were talking, but for some reason I didn't. I just didn't even think of it. Well, that's to do. Okay. Give me just a second. It picked the wrong window. I'm not, maybe it won't let me do that. Man, if this doesn't do it, my plan is just shot. I knew I should have done a dry run. I knew it. New technology, new dual streaming stuff. It'll be fine. Man. Okay. So they are actually getting ready to head out here in just a second, I found out. So I'm not actually going to have time to go through. Well, I may. It's about a 10-minute drive. Let's try this again. Application window. It is not going to let me go through the thing, I don't think. Oh, how stupid is that? How frustrating. How frustrating. Well, it's not as pretty as I'd like it to be, but we do have this here. This is the working copy, not the display copy. How frustrating is that? So let's go ahead and move on. What is a masquerade? Okay. A masquerade is a masked or costume ball in the European tradition. Masked balls or masked dancing is part of many traditions. Africa, Asia, Japan has whole things about that. Greek theater used masked theater as part of it. But the masquerade is specifically the late Renaissance masked balls. They date back to the 13th century, but became prominent in the 18th century Italy. And the concealment of the masquerade, here I was reading it off to you, afforded freedom to dancers, both nefarious and innocent reasons. The masks were freed from constraints of their social station. And this is one of the really interesting things, I think, is the idea that the masquerade ball allowed commoners and noblemen to hang out together in a social setting because nobody was wearing their identity out front. And that's one of the things that is really interesting, I think, because European society from the 15th century on was so heavily stratified that noblemen and landowners could barely even converse with people that were their clients in a lot of ways. And much of the tradition of the masquerade comes down from masks, M-A-S-Q-U-E-S. And a mask is a masked theater. That a lot of it, the most famous aspect of it is the Commedia dell'arte, which is Italian masked theater of the Renaissance, and that was adapted into the British tradition of the Harlequinade. And the Harlequinade is, the Harlequin and Columbine and Pucciarello and Pantaloon, the clown. And all those kind of stuff that are more known in English-speaking countries, part of those traditions. And different characters would have different types of masks that were fairly common. So over here, and this is I have a fairly lengthy thing talking about the different kinds of masks and characters from the Commedia dell'arte, and highlighted are the Harlequinade characters. I'll leave this up on the screen for a little while. I also have breakouts for talking about types of masks and colors of masks from other resources that are really handy. If you are somebody who is interested in participating in our Masquerade Art Show and you want to learn more about it, you can contact me at mreese@cirrushouse.com, and I'll be happy to give you some more information. And if you're one of the participants in our program, thanks to the generosity of the Snow Redfern Foundation, we can supply art supplies to anybody who's a participant in our program through the Cirrus House youth programs. So very excited to offer that to folks. And I'm very grateful. I mean, Snow Redfern actually has made a lot of today's activities possible, from our prizes to our being able to stream this, and all of the lead up to it, prep time for it was something they helped us with. And for the advisory council, the expenses that they incurred in putting the plan for this together. Now, the kids who were on the council weren't able, or they either didn't want to be on camera or weren't able to because of work schedules. This year, it just worked out that way because of weird COVID changed some stuff up there. That's just kind of how that worked out there. So, and I was gonna show. I could actually, you know what I could do. The last thing before I go downstairs. Let me stop share just my screen. I do have over here, I think. No, not there. I was gonna say I had some physical examples. I mean, some handouts with different kinds of masks on them. I thought they were in that chair, but I was wrong. So that chair goes back off camera. There we go. Oh, it's still not off camera. But okay, so I'm gonna put myself on pause for a little while. I know I can see there's a person hanging out in the chat right there. Still on Facebook, and I appreciate you guys sticking out. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna jump off, and because I don't know how to maintain any kind of continuity as we're going through here. But I'm gonna be moving on the way to go get ready for when the writers when they come. So, and so I'm the only one here right now. So that's just how it's worked out. So. Give me just a second. I need to join in. I'm actually just going to cut here, and we're going to go black for just a little while. So, be right back. Although you might not see me. And I think they may have already arrived. So I think I heard something out the window as I was getting the new camera set up. Ah. Hello. Hello. I just realized I left the letters upstairs. So I will. I gotta. So
Yeah, actually, guys are on thing. I've got it streaming upstairs and connected through my phone, but I'm gonna have to zip around and get the thing.
That's all right.
So, you guys that are watching online, you get to watch me a little comedy here. So, so here. Because this was an exciting way to go about doing it. Let me tell you. There's my camera. Okay. I'm locked out of the building entirely. Except I have a key. It's not that big a deal. Okay, we're going to take a little tour through the Cirrus House clubhouse just because. So this building, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. This building was built in the 1930s, originally as the Emery Hotel. I believe, if memory serves, was the second location of the Emery. And then in the 70s was a boarding house, townhouse kind of setup. And today, and has been since the 80s, has been the Cirrus House. Oh, goodness. I still don't know that we have anybody who has chimed in about our puzzle, and we're giving away a placard. I'm going to be jumping the dinner for two and a movie after this. We'll just kind of see where we go from there. So, I want people to know they have a chance to win that. But we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. That's all we can do. But I'm going to come. We'll go ahead and head through the front door. I got him this time. The whole convoy. folks. And I really appreciate them coming out, despite all the hubbub and everything. We got somebody from the Star Herald who's interviewing folks. So we got somebody who's commented in the chat. Yes, look that up. Wasn't to me. I'm doing good.
And your flip flops and the way to go.
I tell you what, I have letters.
Oh, cool. All right.
Hold on, Luke. You're going to receive them letters.
You know how to do that really well, don't you? All right. Receive our letters.
Yep. Thank you guys for coming on out. And yeah, I don't have anything fancy to say besides that.
Your live, you have your live, your virtual
Yes,
event going on.
we are. We're on YouTube and Facebook. So
Okay.
Fantastic. Are we cross recording here?
absolutely. So
Awesome. Well, here we are. It looks a whole lot different than any other year.
How are you today? Pretty good. You, sir? I'm fantastic. Cool. You can't wait for Can't wait for work feels.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the morning.
Whatever that might be like. Yeah, we don't know.
Whoa, see how you are?
So Stan, I gotta tell you, I can't focus the camera. It's just on a phone. It's a pinhole camera. Unless the lens is dusty or something, which it could be. It could be. Because we don't have the full carnival this year, I'm sure the guys will take off here real soon. And I appreciate them coming down so much. I know that normally we try to do a big shindig, and hopefully we've had some fun stuff with our guests who we've had today. And we'll see if there's anything else. We might end up wrapping early since we haven't had anybody haven't had people chiming in about those prizes yet. But I would like to give those away. But I want to say ciao to folks before we head out and go from there. So. We're gonna go dark for just a second here, guys. Let's have a final wave before I head upstairs again. Okay. Bye, guys. Yep. Okay. So we are going to blitz back upstairs, and we'll see where we're at with stuff. Who knows? Who knows? I'll actually see you guys are watching the footfalls here. We're just going to pause for a minute. So I just saw the chat in Chuck, you actually got the right answer. So if you would like, you win the prize, the Batman plaque that we have is that, and you are free to give us a DM, Cirrus House there, give us a DM, and you can check out, let us know how we can get a hold of you, and as we get you your plaque. And I'll put it on the screen once I am back at my table, if you hadn't seen it yet. So yeah, that is black or dark were the acceptable answers.
The whole business. I'm back in the office. Oh man, it was great seeing the folks. I hadn't seen Holly was helped arrange the thing last time, and I'll tell you what, it's been a crazy year. It's a crazy year. I thought we started talking back in January. Thought we were getting an early start on getting everything planned out. Kind of came up with some rough things. Let them roll, let them slide. Kind of said, okay, we'll pick it up in a month. It'll be plenty of time. Plenty of time. They just left, unfortunately. So drat. I did not know that. So drat. But yeah, we can post it to you. That's not a big deal at all. Anyway, yeah, they just pulled out as I was walking back upstairs. So that's how that worked out. And for those of you who don't know, as Chuck said, give it the stretch. I'll see him in Ogallala tomorrow in Ogallala. But oh well. Here's the placard. I want to show it to you guys since it was such a thing here. It's a clear glass. It says, "Everything's impossible until somebody does it," and very much believes in reflects our Cirrus House youth and our attitude toward teaching the kids to shoot for the stars, to find what they're great at and turn it into use that as a tool to learn what they're good at. You're overestimating how fast I can move. I'm playing hurt today. It's been a hobbling. So, but yeah, they had already made plans and stuff. Anyway, I guess I can look and see just in case. I'm going to pick the comment down here though. Banner. That one goes away because we're with it. If you would like, I will check and double check. Hang on. Be right back, folks. Sorry, one moment. I was correct. they had taken off. But yeah, so I've like I said, I think, oh man, it's actually almost 6. I was gonna say cut her out early, but we really are just about done with time and everything, and everything. So it's almost 6, and the Eagle Riders made it. We've talked about the art exhibition. We had some fun talk about what I think are really practical ways of looking at mental health. And I'm really glad all you guys could come along. Those I know, like some people that have been here the whole time. Some people have been popped in and out. People might watch on the replay. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. And this isn't the event we hoped to do. It was 2020. We wanted to have a big carnival. We're doing the masquerade show. We were hoping to have art exhibitions, a preview exhibition of the show. Hoping to have some actual hands-on masked stuff, but that didn't happen. Didn't work out. And we kind of threw this together as last minute, and it was something that was fun, and I really enjoyed it. We have 4 folks that are watching. There are 3 folks that are watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. We do have, I will say, we'll do one more prize and go from there on a thing. We do have a quick question, and this is a kind of a Google question for you. In terms of themes, what year was the first gas engine motorcycle invented? And we will wait just a little while, and if somebody can give us the answer to that, then they will win a dinner and a movie. So we're doing a combo here. We've got a $15 gift card to Dairy Queen, and we've got $25 in movie tickets. And that'll be the prize that we'll give out here on the thing. So if anyone knows or wants to look up, it is an open book test, and your book is the internet. So if you want to go out there and find out what year was the first gas engine motorcycle invented, the first person to put that in the chat will win dinner and a movie. So, and if that goes real quick, maybe we'll do the rest of the prizes too, because we do have more prizes. We just didn't get any response on any of them for a while, and I didn't want to ask the air on everything. And maybe that's weird of me, but yeah, that's a ticket. But yeah, Cirrus House is a private nonprofit psychosocial rehabilitation facility here in Scottsbluff. And 1902? Oh, earlier than that, Chuck. It's got a fancy name. But yeah, we work with young people, 14 to 24, and with adults, 19 and on up. And with that, we try to help them figure out what they want to do with their life and how to make that happen, how to turn the things that they're great at into skills to offset where they're lacking, and try to encourage positive development and safety and all that. So yeah, that is that's kind of the mission of Cirrus House, and we do it in a lot of different ways through counseling, substance abuse and mental health counseling. We do it through community support, which is kind of like a life skills, practical life skills education, and we do it through social development, where we let people build their own communities and get strengths from the people around them. And so those are all different kind of tactics, and there's different programs we use that are part of that. But yeah, it is earlier than 03. So yeah, yeah. If you can make it next year, I really hope we're doing it. I really hope we do it again. Like I know we're going to do it again as long as as long as the Eagle Riders want to participate. I know Cirrus House is on board, and we'd love to do this. We had a lot of hopes and dreams for this year that I really want to roll in the next year. So if you're doing it, we're doing it. And one of the things I talked to the folks downstairs about is they really can't wait for some of the social distancing precautions. We can do some of these fun carnivals again, and I'm really excited for that. It's just turning 6 o'clock. I'm going to call it, so that's kind of where we're at with all of that. So we still have these prizes, and I guess we will have to figure something else out. If you guys are on Facebook, you can follow Cirrus House. We're going to be posting some other events relating to our art show. If you want to follow, if you're on YouTube following us, hit that like and that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. And we are going to be doing art classes that lead up to our masquerade show. And we're very excited for that coming up. As we're trying to find art in the middle of the quarantine, find ways of connecting with folks. And that'll be going on. We're having, our state's recommending not to have social meetings until, like big group gatherings until after the 1st of July, which conveniently is when our art show opens. So, but all of our periphery classes are going to be online. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope to see you guys around the internet. Let's make sure we can help people know, not just about mental illness, about mental health concerns, but about how much hope there are for people that are going through that. And that's what we're about is the hope and finding life and that kind of stuff. So anyhow, thank you for tuning in and see you all next time.